Beginning. The human who wouldn't stay down. My work shift was supposed to be simple. Recalibrate the station's thermal regulators before the heat waves hit the upper decks. The Astra 4 Council was hosting a summit of 6 species, and the last thing they needed was delegates sweating through delicate negotiations. Humans sweat. Aliens panic when they see humans sweating. Apparently, it looks like a pre-molt reaction in 2 species and a death spiral in another. So thermal control mattered. I carried my toolkit down the corridor to the main regulator room, where I wasn't expecting anyone else. Usually only technicians enter the engineering sectors. But when I stepped through the sliding door, I froze.
Tall.
Silver skin. Shoulder plates like carved obsidian. And glowing blue eyes that flicked toward me with sharp, predator-like focus. A Draxion female. One of the strongest species in the sector. They could lift a shuttle panel like it was fabric. Their gravity tolerance put humans to shame, at least on paper. And they avoided humans because we looked too soft for them. Rumor said one Draxion handshake broke a man's wrist. She stood by the regulator console, with her clawed fingers hovering inches above the interface. "What are you doing here?" I asked. Her voice rumbled like vibrating steel. "I could ask you the same, human. I work here." She frowned slightly. "You're a thermal specialist?" "Yes." She didn't seem to believe me. Her blue eyes narrowed as she briefly glanced at my toolkit, then back at me. "You have arrived at an inconvenient moment," she said. "I am adjusting the atmospheric balance for the summit." I blinked. "Without authorization?" "Draxions need no authorization," she replied flatly. "The heat on this station is intolerable. Your species may enjoy simmering in your own fluids, but we do not." "It's not heat," I corrected. "It's calibration. Sensitive systems. If you tamper with it..." She stepped closer. "Human, do not question me." Her tone was stone. Her posture was threat. Her shadow swallowed me whole. But I'd worked on this station long enough not to be intimidated. "Well," I said lightly, "if you're done, step aside. I need to fix what you broke." Her eyes widened. Draxions were not used to being spoken to that way. "No," she said sharply. "I am not done." And before I could move, she tapped a command on the console. Gravity spiked. Hard. A crushing force slammed down like an invisible fist. I staggered. She expected me to fall. Everyone did. Humans had the lowest gravity tolerance of all 6 summit species. That was common knowledge. But I remained standing. Bent at the knees, sure. But standing. The pressure was heavy, like someone had dropped a full metal crate on my shoulders. I wiped sweat from my forehead. "Okay. Wow, who turned the AC down to dense?" Velnara stared. "You are still upright."
"Yeah."
I tried shifting. My spine protested. "Feels like bad weather in my joints." "You should not be conscious." "Well, I've had worse Mondays." Her eyes flashed. "This is Draxion-level gravity."
"Oh."
"Well, that explains the knee pain." Velnara tilted her head, confused, almost insulted. "You think this is air conditioning?" "I mean, it got heavier in here." That was not an environmental shift. That was a crushing field.
"Oh."
I shrugged. "It's kind of soothing, actually." Velnara's shock. Humans are not normal. For a moment, we simply stared at each other. She was evaluating me, the way a scientist might evaluate an unexpected creature that had survived an experiment. "You should be incapacitated," she murmured.
"Why?"
"Humans train in high gravity sometimes." She blinked. "You train to withstand pain?"
"No."
"We train to withstand stupid decisions. Mostly our own." Velnara stepped closer, too close. She studied me like I was an anomaly. What is your mass density? She demanded.
Normal.
Human normal. That means nothing to me. Are you armored? Do you have internal plating? I laughed.
No.
We're just durable. She circled me once, her expression unreadable. This should not be possible, she muttered. A human should have collapsed instantly. I increased gravity to 3.8 standard.
Oh.
That's all, I said. Her head snapped up. That is enough to make 3 of the summit species lose consciousness. I rubbed the back of my neck. Well, I guess we're built tough. Velnara stared at me as if reevaluating a universal truth. Then she hissed, "You will come with me." That feels unnecessary. It is necessary, she growled. For science. Middle, the gravity room. She dragged me, gently for her, forcefully for anyone else, into an adjacent chamber. The gravity calibration bay. Oh, perfect. Stand there, she commanded. I obeyed. Mostly because resistance seemed pointless, and partly because I wanted to see where this was going. Velnara activated a sequence of controls. The room hummed. I will increase gravity incrementally, she announced. Do not die. Great encouragement. Thanks. The floor vibrated. 3.8 standard gravity again. I braced myself. Heavy, yes, but not unbearable. Velnara folded her arms. Status. Feels like my aunt's hugs. She blinked repeatedly. Next level. For point 2. This one hurt. My muscles tensed. My ribs compressed. Breathing took effort. You should stop, I warned. You are struggling.
Yeah.
Good. She increased it again. 4.9. I nearly hit the ground, but forced myself upright. Sweat dripped from my hairline. The pressure felt like a giant hand pushing me downward. But I stayed standing. Velnara exhaled slowly, astonished. This is beyond your biological limit, she said. I groaned. Guess someone forgot to tell my biology. You should not survive this. Story of my life. Her jaw tightened. You are strange. I get that a lot. The pressure increased again. 5.3. This time I collapsed to one knee. The ground felt soft compared to the weight on my shoulders. Velnara, I gasped. She stared, not pleased, not mocking, concerned. This is enough, she whispered. She tapped the control. The pressure vanished. I collapsed flat onto the floor, coughing and laughing at the same time. Okay. I officially retract my AC joke. Velnara knelt beside me. She lightly touched my shoulder, a touch that for her species was equivalent to a trembling hand. You could have died. But I didn't. You risked your life to prove nothing. Hey, I said, smiling weakly, I proved something. Humans are stubborn. Velnara's gaze softened. And impossible. A shift in tension and understanding. She helped me sit up. Her movements went from rigid to careful, delicate even. The way she handled a fragile creature. Except now she knew I wasn't fragile. You are unlike the others, she murmured. Just human. No, she said firmly. Not just human. She paused. My kind is trained from youth to endure 5 standard gravities. Only trained warriors can withstand 6. And you, untrained, approached that. Approached. Not conquered. Still impressive, she admitted. A faint glow ran across her neck plating, a Draxion biological reaction. It meant respect. And interest. Why were you in the regulator room? I asked. She hesitated. My people fear heat. The summit room was unbearable. I sought to lower temperature. But Draxions are not authorized to change the settings. I panicked. You panicked. Her jaw tightened. I am not used to admitting vulnerability. I nodded.
Well,
Now you know my secret too. You have secrets? That AC thing? Yeah, I genuinely thought something malfunctioned. Her eyes widened slightly, and then she laughed. A deep, startling, metallic laugh. You are absurd, she said. And you tried to crush me. I miscalculated. She looked embarrassed. I assumed humans were fragile. Most aliens do. But you survived. Humans usually do. She stared at me for a moment that stretched too long to be casual. Then she said quietly, I was wrong about you. The crisis, and the proof of what humans can do. Alarms blared suddenly. Thermal regulators failing. Temperature spike detected. Summit chamber overheating. Velnara tensed. No, she hissed. I triggered this. I stood up shakily. We can fix it. She stared. You can barely walk. Walking is optional. Saving the summit is not. She hesitated, then extended her arm. Hold on to me.
I did.
And she practically carried me as we sprinted toward the overheating chamber. Inside, the delegates were panicking. 2 species already fainted. A third was shedding biological crystals in distress. Temperatures climbed past safe levels. I forced myself to the regulator console. Velnara, vent the auxiliary heat. She moved with military precision, ripping open a panel and manually rerouting coolant. Sensor stabilized, she reported. Not enough. We need to release the emergency valve. That valve requires 6 gravity pressure strength. I looked at her. She looked at me. No, she said immediately. You can't. I have to. You just nearly collapsed in the gravity test room. That was controlled. This is saving lives. Velnara's eyes burned. You will tear muscle. Break bone. Maybe. Human. Velnara, I said, trust me. She stepped back.
And watched.
I braced myself against the heavy red valve wheel. It was built to require strength, Draxion strength, so the smaller species wouldn't accidentally activate it. I gripped the cold metal. Twisted. Pain shot through my arms instantly. My shoulder felt like it was tearing. But the wheel moved. 1 inch. Then another. Then another. Sweat poured down my face. My forearm screamed. My vision blurred. Yet, I kept turning. With a final wrench, the valve opened. A blast of cold vapor filled the chamber. The temperature dropped. Alarms silenced. Delegates gasped as relief washed over them. I stumbled, nearly falling, until Velnara caught me. You reckless, impossible human, she whispered. Thanks, I breathed. I try. Ending. Her admission and my answer. Hours later, after everything stabilized and the summit resumed, Velnara escorted me to the quiet observation deck. The stars drifted outside like soft dust. You defied biological limits, she said quietly. Humans do that sometimes. You nearly broke yourself. But I didn't. No, she said, stepping closer. Because your spirit refuses to bend. You endure. You adapt. You survive.
She paused.
I did not understand humans before today. Her voice softened. And I misjudged you gravely. All forgiven. She looked down at her hands. I wished to offer something. Her posture changed, formal, respectful. A Draxion oath of respect. I blinked. Is that important? It is given only to those we acknowledge as equals in strength and spirit. I whistled.
Wow.
And all I had to do was get almost squished. Velnara stepped forward. Her forehead lightly touched mine. A Draxion gesture meaning acknowledgement, trust,
Bond.
You stood under my gravity, she whispered. Now I stand with your courage. I placed a hand gently against her arm plating.
Deal.
She exhaled slowly, a hum of calm spreading through her frame. I will learn from you, she murmured. And perhaps you will let me test your limits again. I laughed. Please don't call it testing. That sounds painful. She tilted her head. Then perhaps it will be training. I groaned. That sounds worse. Velnara smiled, an expression rare for her species. Human, she said warmly, you are built of tenacity wrapped in softness. And that softness hides a star's fire. I shrugged. We're all like that. No, she whispered, eyes glowing, not all. But you, yes. We stood together, watching the stars. The human who survived her gravity, and the alien who finally understood it wasn't strength that defined humans. It was will, and she respected that more than any crushing force she could generate.